Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Mustache MMA, and welcome to episode 7 of Best Bets. UFC 272, Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal, the main event. I'm going to go through this entire card, break down kind of the sports books and all the bets that they have available to us, and I'm going to select my favorite ones from each of the fights. I may take a pass on a few of the fights because there's nothing I'm really interested in. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Before I do, I'm going to go over the results of last week's card. As you can see, it's highlighted here. I'm doing a little bit different of a format to kind of test the waters here. So bear with me. So as you can see, I went 4 of 10, 4 wins, 6 losses, 9.5 units in total in play. And then I returned in total 9.91, so I had a net of 0.41 units gained. So another one of those break-even type cards this time, but this time I was on the positive side, so at least a little bit of good news there. So zooming out here and going over. So this is my tracker I've been working on, but as you can see here, we have our overall stats up top here. So you can see I'm hitting 42% for the year. And then February, I've hit 46% of the bets. And then in terms of units for the year, I'm up 1.72 units. And February was up 3.44 units. So obviously February coming to a close. I was going into the March timeframe here. So yeah, and then also here I have the specific plays. So 2-unit play on Brahima inside the distance. That was a Twitter play that we got at -120. That ended up closing at -150. So it's got really good odds on that. And Brahima ended up coming through getting the first round sub. So that was a good win there. Follow me on Twitter if you don't for some of those early plays where we tend to usually beat the lines. So mustache_MMA on Twitter. Some of these other ones here, a win in Hernandez money line. It's a close split decision, but nevertheless a win. Losses in Brahima Wrong, fight goes the distance. Really close fight. Brahima was destroying Wrong actually, but close to going the distance. Wrong actually getting caught in a submission in the 3rd round. Brahima's first submission of his career, of course. Wrong wasn't able to withstand the fight, unfortunately. Serkinov money line, that also went down. Wellington got the sub in the 2nd with a really quick, smooth armbar. Other than that, I mean, Serkinov was winning the 1st round. It was looking like it was going our way, and then got caught in that armbar. Tough break. McKinney money line, really great performance by McKinney getting that 1st round sub. Petrosian money line, another really close fight. This could have gone either way, I think. I wouldn't have been upset if they gave it to Gregory Rodriguez, but Petrosian got the dub, so we got the win there. That was also another Twitter play, +145. I believe it closed in like the +130 area, so we did get a little bit of extra value on that as well. Again, Twitter handle is mustache_MMA. Then we had a loss in Tsarukyan decision. He got the knockout in the 2nd round, pretty much based on that cut. If that cut never happened, I think Tsarukyan would have cruised to a decision victory, but that cut, unfortunately, soiled those plans. Serkinov by decision, obviously already went over that. He lost by armbar. Petrosian, 1st round knockout. That one went to a decision. And then Brahima by KO was a little sprinkle, but he didn't even do any ground and pound at all. He was just hunting that submission the entire time. I thought maybe there was a decent chance for a ground and pound TKO, but that did not hit. Anyway, yeah, again, played in total 9.5 units, returned in total 9.91 units, a 0.41 unit return in the positive. So not too shabby. Obviously not great, but not negative. So can't complain too much. And we did have a couple bad breaks in my opinion on this card. So yeah, cool. Let's get on to the card this Saturday, UFC 272, Covington versus Masvidal. First fight of the card, we got Dustin Jacoby versus Michal O. Not going to pronounce his Polish last name. Going to butcher it. Anyway, looking at this fight, I think it's a lot closer than the odds really say. I mean, I think Michael O has a pretty good shot here to get a win. Reason being, Justin Jacoby's like very hittable. Although he's durable and he can take shots, he's very hittable. Striking defense isn't anything special. Michael O also like a really awkward fighter, so it might be difficult for Jacoby to try and figure him out and actually land strikes of his own. Michael O, though, he's more of a boxer. Dustin Jacoby, kickboxer, and a very experienced kickboxer in that. So he's going to have the experience or the edge in those kicks. I'm assuming this is going to stand up the whole time. There may be some clinch situations, but I'm assuming very little wrestling in this match. So a lot of striking going to be going on. Michael O does have some power. Jacoby has some power as well. But I think both these guys are really durable, and I like bets that kind of hinder to that territory. So I was looking at fight goes the distance, plus 120, pretty decent. Over 2.5 was plus 100. Some decision plays, Jacoby decision, plus 250. Michael O decision, plus 420, pretty good value there. Jacoby money line over 1.5. Or Michael O money line over 1.5. Also was looking at those a little bit, those plays that they have on DraftKings. But what I ended up going with, and it's going to be the first official play for 1 unit. Fight starts the 3rd round, minus 125 over on DraftKings. I think this is probably the best play and the safest play. Again, both these guys are pretty durable. Both of these guys have pretty good gas tanks. It's going to stand on the feet for the most of the time. Michael O has pretty good striking defense. I think he's going to avoid a lot of those big shots that Jacoby has. And even Jacoby, I mean, his last 5 fights, 3 of them have gone to decision, 2 have been finishes. But one of those finishes, he had one of his opponents came up from middleweight. He usually fights a middleweight, came up to lightweight, although a durable fighter. Let me double check on his name because probably important to note. So yeah, Darren Stewart was one of those knockout victories that he got. Darren Stewart, really, really durable fighter. His first knockout loss on his career. But again, Darren Stewart usually fights a middleweight, came out to light heavyweight. And then Justin Ledet, who isn't the greatest fighter. It was his first UFC fight in his 2nd stint. So yeah, anybody who's like usually pretty durable on the feet in the same weight class, he's going to a decision with. And then Michael O, on the other hand, he's only been finished once in his career via KO. A couple submission losses on his resume, but that KO loss was pretty early in his career, so he's shown to be pretty durable and be able to take some big shots, most recently. So yeah, again, official 1 unit play on fight starts the 3rd round, minus 125 on DraftKings. Moving up the card, we got Ludovit Klein coming on short notice here against Devonte Smith. This one was really tough for me. I mean, I think Devonte Smith is really chinny, but he's also a really good striker. So it's really hard for me to figure it out. I mean, I looked at Smith KO TKO plus 155, even a Klein KO TKO plus 380, fight ends KO TKO minus 145. And then some of the longer props as well, over 1.5, fight goes the distance. I think a little like sprinkle play potentially, and I think I'll probably throw it in a parlay, is Klein KO TKO in the 2nd or 3rd round. Devonte Smith always looks sharp in that first, and then seems to like slowly dip off and decline in the 2nd and the 3rd. So that could be a decent play there. But Klein definitely could have the potential to get finished here in the 1st. I mean, Klein coming up from featherweight, fighting at lightweight here. Might be bad news for him, but we'll see what happens here. This is gonna be a pass for me. I'm not gonna play anything. A lot of different areas I'm unsure of, and yeah, for that reason, it's gonna be a pass for me. Tim Elliott versus Tagir Ulanbekov. This one's actually a pretty fire fight. Both these guys are pretty exciting to watch. Pretty good wrestlers in their own rights. Tim Elliott, super awkward fighter to kind of pick apart and figure out, and Tagir Ulanbekov, high pressure fighter type guy. So I was looking at a couple of fights of the year. I kind of like the value on Elliott's side here for sure. I mean, being plus 200, Tagir Ulanbekov coming off a really close split decision win over Nasimenko. I mean, that fight, I probably did give it to Ulanbekov. I think more people did than not, but it was definitely close. And, you know, Nasimenko isn't like an amazing fighter. And so, you know, a little weary of the Ulanbekov side, although I do lean probably Ulanbekov to probably win here, but I think it's really close and definitely the odds are off. So I looked at obviously Elliott money line plus 205, Ulanbekov by decision plus 135, over 2.5 minus 170, fight goes distance minus 135. But what I ended up going with was just a small half unit play. So official half unit play here on Elliott decision plus 450. I think the odds here are really good. I think it's Elliott's best path to victory here. Elliott always comes out firing, and he's really aggressive in the first round. I expect him to probably take the first here. So, you know, that just leaves him to be able to have enough in the gas tank to get the second, or at least make it really close. Ulanbekov, you know, he does have pretty good cardio on his own right. Elliott's cardio is a little questionable because sometimes he puts on a pace that he can't really keep up. But, you know, I like Elliott to probably secure the first. And if he could do that and get a close second, you know, he may get some judges' scorecards on him, on his side. And, you know, for being plus 450, I'm willing to take that shot. So, you know, half unit play on Elliott decision plus 450 over on DraftKings. If I didn't say the first bet, Dustin Jacoby, Michael O, fight starts the third, that was minus 125 on DraftKings to specify the sports book. But yeah, that's the only action I have in this fight is that half unit play. Moving up the card, we got Umar Nurmagomedov versus Brian Kelleher here. You know, Umar Nurmagomedov, like that surname says, super high level wrestler, super high level grappler. You know, very good in the grappling game and the wrestling game. That constant pressure pace makes his opponents really work. So, you know, I couldn't even find a single bet that I really liked for Kelleher here. I mean, you could say maybe a submission play for Kelleher. You know, he's got that tight guillotine, but I just don't see Nurmagomedov like getting caught in that. I feel like generally when we see guillotines be pulled on other opponents, they have to have like an incredible guillotine to actually submit a top tier level opponent with that guillotine. I mean, the only one that comes to mind is Devonte Figueiredo getting a guillotine on Alex Perez in like the top level competition. And obviously Nurmagomedov, he's not top 15 as of yet, but I think he's going to get there. He has the skill set to get there, I should say. You know, 13-0 record, having that high level grappling, high level wrestling. So again, I couldn't find a single bet that I really liked Kelleher for, to be honest. The bet I do really like is Nurmagomedov by submission, plus 210 over on FanDuel. It's going to be an official play for 1 unit. You know, reason I like this over decision, we saw in his last fight, Umar Nurmagomedov against Sergey Morozov, his wrestling and his grappling was just so smooth, so good. And Sergey Morozov has really good wrestling, really good grappling in his own right. And he was able to get the submission pretty easily. His fight before that, he got a submission as well. So he's coming off 2 back-to-back rear naked chokes. Brian Kelleher been submitted 5 times in his career. He's been susceptible to that. Although it hasn't happened recently, you know, this is going to be Brian Kelleher's probably, if we look on his resume. So he's faced some high-level wrestlers in his career for sure, but those fighters don't necessarily have the grappling skills that Nurmagomedov does. So Ricky Simone, high-level wrestling, but grappling isn't incredible, we should say. Cody Stamann, high-level wrestling, but grappling, not incredible. So you can see here his last submission loss was in 2018 to Montel Jackson. Other than that, they've all been decision losses. But anyway, I mean, I just like Nurmagomedov here to get a sub. I mean, obviously, I like inside the distance too. It's probably a little bit safer because, you know, that ground and pound victory is always live, as we saw in the last event. Makhachev got Bobby Green's back, and you know, I was thinking the sub was eventually going to be locked in, but it ended up being just a ground and pound victory. Bobby Green was not giving up his neck at all. Didn't give the opportunity even for that. So Makhachev just said, to hell to it. I'm going to pound you until the ref pulls me off, and that's what happened. But, Nurmagomedov by submission, plus 210 over on FanDuel, 1 unit. That's the play I like here. I like the value at plus 210. I think that's really good value here for the most likely path, in my opinion, to victory. Kelleher, he does have good wrestling, good grappling in his own right, but again, it's not going to be on the level as Nurmagomedov. Moving up the card, we got Marina Moroz versus Mariya Agapova. This one was really tough. I probably lean Agapova here, but again, I don't mind the value on Morozov. On Tapology, I think they actually have the betting odds flipped here, unless this is where it opened, but I cannot remember where it opened. Agapova is about a minus 180 favorite right now, with Morozov coming back at like plus 160, plus 150. So again, I leave the Agapova side, but this fight should be fire. I mean, they've been talking shit back and forth for a while. They were ex-teammates at, I believe, American Top Team. Both of them moved camps or gyms. Still talking crap to one another, so this should be a really fun one to fight. Agapova, really crisp striker, good range. Morozov, a good striker in her own right. Sometimes struggles with that accuracy, but she also got good wrestling, good grappling too, and that could be a path to victory for her. Getting in that wrestling, if she can get a takedown and get really control Agapova on the ground, could totally be a reasonable path to victory. Agapova, on the other hand, I think she may have the edge in the striking department. Her hands just looked really crisp her last time out, and she's fixed that adrenaline dump type fighting style that she used to do all the time. Just kind of go for the first round finish. Her last fight, she did not do that. She looked very, very good for all 3 rounds up until her submission victory. So anyway, I think this one's really close. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. Could be a finish, might not be a finish, could go to Morozov, could go to Agapova. For that reason, it's going to be a pass for me. Moving up the card, we got Nick Negumereanu, we'll go with, and Kennedy Nzechukwu. Both 2 tough names for me to pronounce there. So we'll go with Nick Nuku, and we'll just go with Kennedy. This one's also another one. At first I was like, no way I'm touching this at all. I'm not interested in this fight because Kennedy, his last time out, Da Eun Young, he just took some elbows and just went out quickly in the first round. I don't know where that chin's at, and that was very recently as well. It's also coming in on short notice here. He was knocked out against Da Eun Young, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago, maybe a little longer. So he's making a quick turnaround from that knockout. Kennedy, on his own right, he does have good striking defense, really great cardio, but, I'm not 100% positive about that chin. And going up against a guy like Nick Nuku, don't get me wrong, his striking defense, absolutely terrible. He just eats shots because his chin is fantastic and he can just eat those all day. And his game plan, essentially every fight, is just get in your face, brawl, eat some of your shots, and then know that you cannot take his shots. He's got power in those hands as well. So for all those reasons, the play I liked here at a half unit, because I like the value. I got a half unit play on Nick Nuku by KO TKO plus 500 over on DraftKings. Plus 500 here, I think it's really good value. I mean, we saw Kennedy go down pretty easily against Da Eun Young his last time out. He got hurt against Carlos Ulberg in the first round. He was able to push through that and not get finished. Almost got finished a couple times in his other fight, but it was more a grappling scenario. But yeah, I mean, I'm not totally sold on Kennedy. And with his potential chin problems that we saw last fight, I mean, give me the power in Nick Nuku to maybe here come out and just brawl with him and land a couple good shots, and then Kennedy goes out or just falls and gets gets the TKO win. So plus 500, I think it's worth the shot on a half-unit play. So official half-unit play, Nzechukwu, KO, TKO, plus 500 over on DraftKings. Moving up the card, we got Marina Rodriguez versus Xiaonan. Again, a bunch of names on this card that I'm going to butcher. Nevertheless, here, this one I think will likely stay up on the feet for the most of the time. Now, this one scares me a little bit because this one will probably go to decision in my mind, and the judges have not been very good recently this year. So the fact of the matter is you have to very convincingly win 2 of 3 rounds, very convincingly, or you're most likely going to get screwed over from a judge who doesn't know what they're looking at. Nevertheless, I'm still taking a decision prop. So Marina Rodriguez, a 1-unit official play on Rodriguez by decision, plus 105 over on FanDuel. At plus money, I think it's a steal. Marina Rodriguez, we can go to her resume here, but most of her victories have come from decision. Her last 2, she did get a TKO over Amanda Ribas. But other than that, as you can see, we go down the list. All of her other fights in the UFC have gone to decision. So 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 out of 8 fights have all gone to decision in her career. So very unlikely here that she is going to get the finish. Jan, in her own right, she has a pretty good chin, only losing twice. She got ground and pounded by Carla Esparza. That doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have a good chin, especially from a crucifix. She just got stopped, got caught, couldn't stop the punches, wave it off from TKO. Marina Rodriguez is not going to do that. She's going to stand up and fight with her the whole time. Let me see if I can get back to my original screen here. But yeah. Again, that's the one I like the best here. I think Rodriguez's striking is just a step up from Jan. I think this one's going to stay on the feet. Now, Jan could switch it up and maybe try to go to the wrestling route, but Rodriguez has shown that she has really good takedown defense. It's hard to take her down. And she showed in her last fight against Mackenzie Dern that she has good submission defense as well. She lasted on the ground for 4.5 minutes with Mackenzie Dern having top control pressure and didn't get subbed. Very impressive. So, yeah, I like this one to stand up on the feet. I like Marina Rodriguez to win a clear decision. Hopefully the judges do not screw me over. Knock on wood. Moving up the fight, we got the prelim main event here, or the headliner in the prelims. Jalin Turner versus Jamie Mullarkey. So I was really heavy on Jamie Mullarkey's side, and I'm surprised that he's still a dog. I think he opened at like plus 130. A lot of money came on him initially, and he went down to almost a pick'em price, maybe about plus 100. And now money has actually gone back on Jalin Turner, and we see Mullarkey back at the plus 130 mark, even actually a little higher. You can find it at plus 140. So I was really tempted to, throw money on that Mullarkey side. But with the line movement, it makes me a little nervous, especially with Tapology. We can see the predictions here. It is very close, but higher percentage have the fight winning for Mullarkey. So, for that reason, Tapology is supposed to have a lot of good MMA fans who know what they're talking about. A majority of them are picking Mullarkey, yet Mullarkey is still a dog. That makes me question things a little bit. Maybe there is a little bit of sharp money coming in on Jalin Turner here. Again, maybe the value is good on Jamie Mullarkey, but I think it's close. I would take Mullarkey here at plus money, but again, for whatever reason, all those factors are really just throwing me off. So I'm not going to bet his money line. But I do have a play for this card instead. I like fight to start the 3rd round, plus 100. I think it's really good value. Reason being is Jalin Turner, we've seen his, I guess you could say, weaknesses or his pathway to a loss. That's wrestling. That's constant wrestling, pressure, pace wrestling. Matt Frevola put that on him and got the victory, and pretty convincing victory as well. Jamie Mullarkey, he has some pretty good wrestling. to be honest. We saw that in his fight with Farrell Ziam. He put on the wrestling pace a lot because he knew Ziam had a really good striking technicality advantage. Jamie Mullarkey, a good striker in his own right. Jalin Turner, really good striker as well. Jalin Turner coming off of two wins, both club and subs, so getting the hurting the opponent and then getting quick submission. Jimmy Mullarkey, I believe, also coming off of 2 victories and both by finish. But I just think there's going to be a lot of clinch work in this one, a lot of wrestling, and some grappling as well. So, for all that reason, I don't think it's going to be, there's definitely going to be some stand-up. There's definitely going to be some shots. Both these guys are really durable, though. Jalin Turner, he has been knocked out 3 times in his career. But I don't think the most recent one has been, his most recent one was 2018, and that was to Luque. Luque's got great power for this division, probably some of the best power in the division. So don't hold too much weight to that. And then his other fights, getting knocked out in the 3rd round once, and then a quick 11-second knockout back in 2016. That's when he first went pro. So I don't hold too much weight to those. Mullarkey does have good hands, but he doesn't necessarily have KO power. He really puts his KOs, or he puts his combinations together, body work together, and gets generally, TKO victories. So for all those reasons, I just like the fight to start the 3rd round. I think these guys are both pretty durable. I think there's going to be a lot of clinch work, a lot of wrestling engaged, a lot of grappling engagement. So I think it's safe to say fight starts the 3rd round is a good bet. At plus 100 too, pretty good odds. I didn't rate the sports book. I want to say it's DraftKings. I'm pretty sure it is. But official 1 unit play. Fight starts the 3rd, plus 100 on DraftKings. Moving up to the main card. Starting it off, we got the heavyweight Sergey Spivak versus Greg Hardy. Again, another one where I really like the dog here. I like a lot of the value on the dog plays. I feel like you can just go through this entire card, lay money on each dog, and you'll probably come out positive, to be honest. I just think there's a lot of potential and good value on a lot of these dogs. Now, that being said, again, this is another dog that I'm not taking on the money line. There's been a bunch of dogs already that I've said that I like, but I haven't taken their money line. Reason being is I can see clear path to victories for their opponents or a certain path to victory. Here, obviously, Spivak, he's going to want to get to the ground. Hardy has essentially 0 ground game. We saw his Tybura fight where Tybura took him down once, and Hardy was a fish out of water, couldn't do anything, got ground and pounded, and lost. Now, that was, I think, about 15 months ago, so maybe Hardy has improved upon his grappling. Maybe Hardy has improved upon his wrestling. I mean, he has pretty decent takedown defense to begin with, but we've shown in that Tybura fight that you only need 1, potentially. So it'd be interesting to see here if Spivak is able to get that takedown. Hardy obviously has a big edge on the feet. I think he has probably the better technical striking, definitely the better power for sure. I mean, Spivak really only has a jab that I've seen that's pretty good. But other than that, his striking isn't great. He's more of a wrestler for sure, and then gets that top control, looks for submissions and or ground and pound to get the fight out of there. I really favor a Greg Hardy KO here. I'm not going to play it straight up, but I think I'll throw it into a parlay type situation. But the play I do like is fight ends by KO TKO plus 100 over DraftKings. So I'm going to throw 1 unit on that as an official play. Reason being I like that. Greg Hardy obviously has the advantage in the feet. Big power. He just needs to land 1 shot on Spivak, and Spivak's probably done. 1 good shot, that is. Spivak, on the other hand, if he gets 1 takedown, Greg Hardy, depending on the clock, is most likely done. So all we're really doing here is fading a Spivak submission, which, is a potential for sure. But, Greg Hardy, once we get past that 8-minute mark, Greg Hardy, his cardio isn't great. He's not going to last. He's not going to be that same person that we see in the octagon in that first round for sure. So Greg Hardy here, probably looking to come out pretty strong, and potentially probably get the knockout in the first round. I like, but if he doesn't, I like him to gas. I like Spivak to eventually get it to the ground. I like him to get an easy ground and pound victory. So yeah, I think we're only fading a Spivak sub here. I think it's good value at plus 100. So official 1 unit play. Fight ends by KO TKO plus 100 over on DraftKings. Also, potential for a live bet situation here. If Greg Hardy doesn't get the finish in the first and like definitely wins the first pretty convincingly, I think you could throw a live bet on Spivak, and he's probably has the potential to get the victory. I might play it, I might not. If I do, I'll tweet it out. And obviously that specific scenario has to happen. But yeah, potential area for a live bet there. Anyway, moving up the card, we got Kevin Holland versus Alex Oliveira. Kevin Holland making his welterweight debut here against a pretty good opponent and a veteran in Alex Oliveira. So this one I was thinking about for a while, and I ended up coming to the conclusion of a bet that I like. So Alex Oliveira, he's a very durable fighter. He's only been finished once in his career by KO. A couple other ones by submission, and most recently a couple submission losses. Obviously, we know Kevin Holland, his grappling isn't great, his wrestling isn't great, although both of them are improving. He mostly needs to stand up with the fighters, and his stand-up's really good. He's really long, he's really tall, 81-inch reach here. Yeah, good power in his hands as well, good technicality. So definitely going to have the striking advantage here. Going to have probably the weight advantage for sure as well. So I looked at Holland KO, I looked at Holland decision, maybe even a Oliveira decision. Maybe you can get that wrestling working, that grappling working, that clinch work that he's really good at, and grind his way to a decision. But ultimately, I went for an official 1 unit play on Holland money line and over 1.5 plus 130 over on FanDuel. I think Alex Oliveira has the skills, has the chin to at least last a round and a half against Kevin Holland. Expect Oliveira to probably try to wrestle early. Expect Oliveira to clinch a lot. He's good in the clinch, good control in the clinch, and it's going to sustain that attack from Kevin Holland, also get him a little tired in the beginning of those rounds where he's so dangerous. I like for that kind of fight to play out. And I like Kevin Holland to probably here get a late finish, if not get a decision, probably, get it, maybe at least 2 rounds for sure. Maybe even get 3. But, I do think Alex Oliveira is going to use the wrestling game a lot, use the clinch game a lot, and it's really going to chew up a lot of that clock. And, Holland, I do believe, will get the victory. But over 1.5 combined with over 1.5 at plus 130, I think it's really good value. So again, official 1 unit play, Holland money line, and over 1.5 plus 130 over on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings. It is technically a parlay, but is a single bet on DraftKings. If you go all the way to the end, they have fight parlay section where it's kind of like a single bet. Moving up the card, we got Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell, your classic, really good wrestler versus really good striker. Not much to say in this one, to be honest. I probably lean the Barboza side because he's a pretty, decent dog, plus 140. Barboza KO TKO plus 300, pretty good as well. Mitchell by decision plus 260, also pretty good. I think if you bet Barboza KO, Mitchell decision, those are their best path to victories for each of these fighters. So you probably come out with a little positive if you wanted to. But yeah, I mean, I just don't know. Bryce Mitchell has never really fought this kind of an elite striker before, so I don't trust that necessarily. And then we've also seen Barboza get pretty much out-wrestled, out-grappled in the past pretty heavily, although those were all at lightweight, where he fought Khabib, which does that to everyone. And then also Kevin Lee was pretty successful with his wrestling and getting takedowns and top control. Although Barboza did show in that Kevin Lee fight his ability to get back to his feet, which could pose a problem here for Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell is able to consistently get those takedowns, yeah, that's good. But if he's not able to hold Barboza down there and keep this one away from the feet, could be a problem for Mitchell. Mitchell's striking isn't the best, and definitely a big gap in, each of these fighters' strengths and weaknesses. They kind of mirror each other. But yeah, for all those reasons, pass for me. I don't want to touch this fight. Moving up the card, we got Rafael dos Santos going up against Renato Moicano. Moicano here coming up on like 4 days notice. Fought 2 weeks ago against Alexander Hernandez, got a win in the second round via submission. So looking to really jump up the rankings if he can here and be very impressive if he could. But RDA, man, he's a machine. This is a 5-round fight, I still believe. Let me double check that this is a 5-round fight because that would be pretty important, but I'm almost positive it is. Yeah, it is a 5-round fight. Now, Moicano has been in 5-round fights before, but it's never seen a 5th round. RDA, really well-rounded everywhere. Good striking, good grappling. BJJ black belt, good wrestling as well. Moicano, his striking's pretty good as well, but I think I definitely like Dos Santos' striking better. Moicano is a high-level grappler as well, but I think Dos Santos' black belt jiu-jitsu skills also kind of, push that a little bit. And Moicano's wrestling is okay. I don't think it's anything special. It's good enough to get, eventually people to the ground, or if he times it well. Sometimes he does have good timing with his takedowns. But anyway, coming in on short notice here, Moicano, I don't trust him. 4 days notice, fighting 2 weeks ago. Definitely lost that first round against Alexander Hernandez. Rafael dos Santos having, really good cardio, great 5-round experience, has been 5 rounds multiple times. Yeah, I just like Moicano or Dos Santos here to definitely convincingly win here, probably by decision. But what I ended up going with, because Moicano is a little bit chinny, he's been knocked out a good amount of times in his career. Although that's been to high-level opponents like Jose Aldo and Chang Young Sung, still it has occurred. Rafael Fiziev actually got him as well, who was supposed to be the original opponent of Dos Santos. But anyway, RDA, Dos Santos, I think he has good striking as well. I think he could catch Moicano potentially. So what I ended up doing, an official 1-unit play on Rafael Dos Santos by KO, TKO, or by decision, -120 over on DraftKings. This was at a Twitter play. I'm not sure if that line has moved. I actually did put in that play this morning when the lines kind of came out. I do really quickly want to check here to see if the line has moved yet. Please hold. Just about got it. I'm assuming it hasn't moved yet. Yeah, so right now, currently, at the time of this video, it's still sitting at -120 for that play. I think it's really good value. I don't think the sub's going to come into play here. Moicano is a really high-level grappler. His grappling defense is very good, only losing to submission once to a guillotine to Brian Ortega, who's got also incredible grappling. Not that Dos Santos doesn't, but I think Ortega has better grappling. So yeah, official 1-unit play. Rafael Dos Santos, KO, TKO, or decision, -120 over on DraftKings. That one I would suggest to hit it soon. You can wait until Saturday's card. I don't think it's going to get any. The odds are going to get any better than that, and I think it could move up, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to track it. I took it right away when the books opened because I thought it was really good value. So yeah. Moving up to the main event, Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. This one I don't got much to say either. I mean, Covington, really good wrestler. Jorge Masvidal, pretty dangerous striker. Covington has good striking in his own right. Masvidal, we've seen his weakness is obviously in the wrestling and the grappling game. So yeah, I like Covington here to definitely get a very clear-cut decision. So what I ended up going with, this was an official Twitter play. As well, I put 1 unit on Covington by decision, -115 over on FanDuel. I locked that in last night. However, I did look pretty recently, and I actually saw that the odds actually came down even a little bit. So a little disappointing that I probably hit that at the wrong time. Yeah, right now it's minus 105 on FanDuel. So I got it at minus 115. Again, I still think minus 115 is a good price. I wouldn't be surprised if that price got higher as we get to the fights on Saturday. So I'm still happy with it, even though I didn't get the best price as of right now. So, it still could be a good price potentially. So again, that was an official 1-unit Twitter play on Covington by decision, minus 115 over on FanDuel. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this fight. I think it's pretty clear cut that Covington gets a decision here over Masvidal. There's a chance Masvidal lands that one punch and hurts Covington and then gets the finish. Covington has shown that he's really tough. He is hard to finish. He can get rocked, but he can come back into a fight and still be good. But I like that wrestling to really just hold the edge here over Masvidal and get him the decision. But we'll see what happens on Saturday. All right. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Appreciate you guys for watching, and those of you listening on Steady Picks Radio. All my official plays will be actually posted on steadypicks.com. Usually they're posted about Saturday by noon Eastern Standard Time. So check out steadypicks.com. It's free to sign up. You will see my picks on there as well as you will see Sean Brady, UFC welterweight top 10 fighter. You'll see his picks on there as well. I'm also going up against Sean Brady in a little competition for this card as well. We're both going to pick our 5 best bets, 1 unit each on each of those, and then we're going to see who has the most units by the end of the day. So should be fun. Brady, we've done this competition a couple times. Brady has beaten me both times, but looking to get him back. We'll see what happens. I'm pretty confident with my plays. So yeah, appreciate you guys listening. If you could subscribe, that'd be great. If you guys could like, that'd be great. If you guys got any plays of your own, or you like my plays, you're going to tail them, or you don't like my plays, you're going to fade them, let me know why down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And then I got one more video coming out later today, my parlay plays video. So look out for that as well. Thanks a lot, guys, and I will see you soon.